Even-year legislative sessions are typically focused on supplemental spending, policy concerns, and a bonding bill. Joining me to talk about the goals of the Senate Republican caucus for the coming session is the Senate Minority Leader, Mark Johnson. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Shannon. It's great to be here.
The most recent budget and economic forecast in November used the word constrained, citing a structural imbalance in the next biennium, 26-27. The February forecast is about a month away and will result in an even clearer picture. But based on current information, what is your view of Minnesota's economic health?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think when you're looking at the constraints on our state government, that's what we hear a lot about is, oh, we've got all these constraints on growing our state government, but what we really have to worry about is our families and the constraints on their budgets right now. You know, a lot of great economic indicators out there, but yet families aren't feeling those. You know, with the high taxes, high fees, the groceries are expensive, the gas is still expensive. We need to really be focusing on what matters to our families in Minnesota. And so that's going to be our concentration here going forward.
Even years like this one are typically bonding years. Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan have released a $982 million proposal for statewide infrastructure projects. Notwithstanding the $2.6 billion infrastructure package that was passed into law last session, what is the Senate Republican appetite for more statewide investments in this session?
Yeah, we really spent like crazy last year. And when I say we, a lot of that was Senate DFL, House DFL that did a lot of that spending that put us into this unique and stable position with the state right now. When you look at the out years of our budget, it's really concerning because we have taken that large surplus and Senate Democrats have spent that on all sorts of pet projects instead of really focusing on what Minnesotans are asking for. You know, with this bonding bill, we have to look at wastewater. We have to look at drinking water. We have to look at infrastructure. But if we don't have the budget to support it, then we have to start scaling back, making sure that our priorities are addressed in that. And it's not just, you know, wants and different things that you might find in some of those bonding bills. But we really have to focus on what the important bread and butter issues are across Minnesota. You know, the bonding committee has been going out, investigating, seeing what's needed out there. And there's a lot of need across the state. However, we don't know what our caucus is going to support in that. We have to get into the discussions here during this session and see what that looks like. But there's a lot to happen this session on that bonding bill.
So it's a maybe.
It's a maybe.
It's a maybe. So the bonding bill is the one area that Republicans do have leverage because bills that borrow money require a 3/5 majority. Senator Karin Housley, who is the Republican lead of the Capital Investment Committee, said on last week's program that a bonding bill will be among the last bills to be passed in this session to maximize that leverage.
Right.
So what are Senate Republicans going to fight for, use that leverage for?
Sure. And last year you saw what we used the bonding bill for. I mean, we fought very, very hard on getting our nursing homes the funding that they need to survive. That was one of the big issues. We saw that in communities, not just the metro area, but in outstate Minnesota, where they were really on their last leg on a lot of these nursing homes, just because of the timing, the way that funds come in, the way that inflation has impacted them. And this is for one of our most vulnerable communities in this state, and it's for our elderly and those who need those services. And so we fought very, very hard to get to that point. And so we see the value of having that leverage. And we'll use that this year on the needs of Minnesotans. You know, whatever that might be that comes to the surface. Right now, tax reform is always a big deal. You know, SRO with our school resource officers, that's also a big issue that many people are looking at. But, you know, mostly what that bonding bill, what we should be doing is making sure that we're investing in roads and bridges and the wastewater like we talked about and drinking water. But we're not going to give up this leverage just for, you know, pet projects, for different things that the DFL wants. We got to make sure that this is a balanced bill that represents, you know, rural Minnesota, metro Minnesota, the different communities within it. And we're going to fight very, very hard to get to that point.
Last fall, Republicans called for a special session to fix an issue that you just referred to with school resource officers. There was a law change last session that limited the use of force, and that prompted some law enforcement agencies to pull school resource officers from some schools. A special session was not called, but the governor and DFLers have said that this issue will be solved this session. How does it need to be solved?
Yeah, that was one that really threw our schools into chaos right at the beginning of school. I mean, you saw officers being pulled out of schools, some being kept in schools. What does that mean for an officer? What can they do even if they're left in a school? How much liability personally and professionally are they going to be taking on? A lot of chaos still around this, and our law enforcement community is still advising that you stay out of the schools. However, many school districts have said, well, we're going to let you back into that at this point. There are a few cases within the legislation that I think we can really look at refining the language in that to make it clear, and that all the stakeholders can kind of get on board. In the Senate, we have Senator Duckworth, who is working very hard to figure out what that compromise looks like. And so I think we'll get there at some point, but it needs to happen yesterday because these schools are still wrestling with this issue and really leaving the safety of our schools as a political football of some sort right now. This needs to be done early.
Senator Jeremy Miller has unveiled his latest effort to legalize sports betting in Minnesota. It's called the Sports Betting Act 2.0. As you know, Minnesota is the only state in the region that does not have legalized sports betting. And over the past few years, I have interviewed both Republicans and DFLers with proposals. So there is bipartisan support. Is 2024 the year?
Do you want to take odds on this one?
We probably
can do
should.
That. So this is, again, one of those issues that keeps coming up that we just can't figure out exactly the right solution for it in Minnesota. And I tell you, I get a ton of emails and calls and texts on this issue from folks of all ages on both sides of the aisle. It really is one of those issues that has pressure from both directions, too, both for and against on it. So we've got a couple of proposals. And I think Senator Miller has a really nice round proposal that takes into account the charities, which is a big deal here in Minnesota. Does a lot of our community funding for skating rinks and different events across the communities. Our tracks, our indigenous tribes, all those different facets. And he does a good job of putting together a proposal, I think, that really gets to the heart of it. And so we'll see if that has legs. I see that there's some movement on the DFL on votes that we didn't think were going to be coming our way, but we'll see what happens here. It's going to be a fascinating year when it comes to sports betting.
And finally, in a democracy, it is the right of the party in opposition to dissent to proposals offered by the majority. Last session saw some fairly lengthy floor debates here in the Senate as Republican members asserted the right to question, to debate, and to offer alternatives to what was being debated. Are we likely to see lengthy floor sessions again this session?
Shannon, that was one of the most, I wouldn't say fun, but just we got to exercise really what the Constitution and the forefathers who drafted that Constitution envisioned last year, where we got on the floor and we had the opportunity to really push back against proposals that we vehemently disagreed with. We didn't have the opportunity, as we normally do in committees and in the back hall discussions. The DFL really shut their doors to any sort of opposition, whether that was senators, fellow senators, or even to the public or organizations that represent people. And so the only place that we could really get our voice heard in a lot of cases was on the floor. And so if that's the only place that we can do it, boy, we're going to be down there having some very lengthy conversations. And I think that's going to be something that hopefully they've learned that we can do that. And we'll be working with us more in committee and behind the scenes this coming year.
Minority Leader Mark Johnson, it is always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.